Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. I have Lucky on set today, and I'm just praying that she behaves. We're working on some behavior issues, so I thought just separating her from Lily sometimes is a good idea. Anyway, so I have a couple different things today. Before I start though, I did want to point out something that's a little disappointing is that when I came into my studio today, my main light bulb blew, and these are real studio lights, so I need to get, this is the second one that's blown. I only have a small one left, so anyway, I need new light bulbs, and I've never replaced these, so I don't even know how to begin, but I guess I'll figure it out. But anyway, just wanted to point that out in case something looked a little different. So let's get started. I hope you had a great January so far. We're almost at the end here. So I wanted to start with a quick wrap up of the scary sleepover weekend, rather, that Alex the bookkeeper put together. I participated and I had a great time. In fact, if you'd like to check out my vlog, I did post it on my community page last week, and you can watch it on my Patreon for free. And if you feel like becoming a Patreon member, well, you're always welcome. And you can become a library member and you get all kinds of fun stuff. So take a look at that. That's me more uncensored and unfiltered, if you can handle that. Scary sleepover weekend, just to recap really quick. I did read 3 books last weekend, which is great. I read a Nancy Drew, Mystery at the Ski Jump, which I don't think I read this one before. I read another Cirque du Freak book. This was book 4 in the series. I only read book 1, but this was fun. Vampire Mountain. I want to read more of these. I got to go back and read 2 and 3. And I really loved this book, The Howling. This has been on my shelf. Look at Lucky. She never stops. For a long time. If you're looking for like a fun vintage like paperback from hell, that's a really fast read. It's a little corny. It's got some racy scenes in it. Comes off a little, maybe, I don't know, some sexist language perhaps that might offend someone. It doesn't offend me, but I lived through that time period and survived. Not to say we still don't have some issues that we need to work out. But moving on to my little haul. So my used bookstore is really fun. If you're ever traveling north of Philadelphia and you want to check it out, it's in Newtown, PA. So the first one I got is, I guess it's pronounced Wieland or Wyland, or The Transformation by Charles Brockden Brown. So this shows you how they sometimes during the Gothic Romance craze, which I'll be talking about more, of the 60s and 70s mostly, they took old classic stories, like I imagine this one is. Now it may have some Gothic Romance, but they kind of gave it a new look, made it into more of that Gothic Romance. I don't think I'm going to find a formulaic story in this book. Now these books are great. At my bookstore, all the books are priced percentage of what the cover price is, like the jacket price. So some of these ended up costing me like a quarter, because that's how old they are. Here's one, The Unforeseen by Dorothy McCardle. Pretty standard. This one looks a little newer. The House in Windridge by Eloise A. Rife. The Lucifer Mask by Kathleen Rich. Really like the artwork on the cover. And In the Dead of the Night by Mary Lynn Robbie. This is a little bit of a different cover. So these were super cheap. I think I got the whole haul for like, I don't know, $4. And then I bought some comics, which I'll show you at my antique shop. These are all original, not reprints. The Dracula comic. I just remembered the old ads. Like that, the ads bring me back. Of course, oh my gosh, who could forget when each member of Kiss had his own album? Does anyone remember this? I remember this because my brother was a huge Kiss fan, and he would play the records, like especially the live record, incessantly. And I'm still traumatized, but I remember at the record store, like the Peter Criss ones, just the drum album, they would just be like piled up because nobody wanted to just listen to drums for an entire LP. I mean, you can't really blame them. And then 2 cool, I don't know, I guess I can leave them in I just hope they don't reflect too much, but 2 Dark Shadows comics, which look pretty cool and in great shape. Again, we have like Hot Wheels and, oh, you can buy a gun. I grew up in a rural area on a farm. We didn't have a working farm, but we had animals. And we did have a pretty nice vegetable garden, but the boys that I played with when I was a kid had guns. Like, they got a gun for their 12th birthday or something because everybody hunted. That was the thing. Oh no. So it shows how much things have changed. And I was really happy to find this book because I think this is kind of rare. This is a movie storybook of the film The Bride. Does anyone remember when this movie came out in the 80s with Sting and Jennifer Beals? It's just like pictures and text from the movie. This is actually putting me in a Gothic mood, getting me ready for my month of Gothic romance. So I might include this on my journey and actually watch the movie. I did see this movie back in the day, and I remember it was considered kind of a flop. And yes, I had a big crush on Sting. I mean, who didn't? This is when he was trying to do like acting too. And of course, Jennifer Beals from Flashdance fame. I always thought she was really beautiful. Anyway, so that's my haul. So I also wanted to share that I finally bought myself a letter opener. Those of you who watch my channel know I've been dropping hints and complaining for a long time that I need a letter opener. I didn't have any mail today, so I can't use it today, but check this out. I bought this for myself on Amazon, and it's kind of like an Arthurian Excalibur type of sword to open the letters. And this is a handy dandy stand. Isn't that cool? Moving on. I decided for the month of February that I wanted to do something a little different and start my own reading challenge. So I thought, what do I love and what have I been wanting to read more of, and what do I know people, certain people, not all booktubers, but there is a little bit of a Gothic romance niche. So I came up with this idea called the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge. It has its own hashtag. I'm reading nothing but Gothic romance for the month of February. So if you would like to join, listen up. I do have some very cool co-hosts with this challenge as well, and they are E.D. Lewis, D.L. Tillery, the Mistress of Horror, and Aphrodite Lee. Now, all three of these booktubers / author tubers are writers themselves, and they all kind of delve into this Gothic romance area. But yeah, we have a great group participating in this, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with. So we've already been chatting about it a bit, and we're excited. Gothic romance may be a little difficult to define, and Edie shared with me a really good resource that I will link below. It's a video called Romancing the Gothic, 300 Years of Gothic Romance with Lori A. Page. She also wrote a book on the topic called The Gothic Romance Wave, A Critical History of the Mass Market Novels, 1960 to 1993. Maybe I'll save up for that because I would like to read it. It's just a little expensive. Definitely check out the video because it's a little hard to define like what exactly is Gothic romance. Does it start with the Castle of Otranto? Like, is that considered romance? Well, technically it is. I mean, romances were originally the French Arthurian legends were romances. So there were some romantic elements in it. Lancelot and Guinevere, of course, a great love story, tragic love story, and a great love triangle, which a lot of romance, modern romance is based on. But it's not, some of these early works are not what we would consider romance today, like something like this. You know, it's evolved, and not all romance, of course, is Gothic. In order to be a Gothic romance, it has to have some Gothic elements, a scary house, a castle, something creepy. I mean, Dark Shadows is a great example. The ones in the 60s through the 90s are kind of a specific formula. So definitely check out that video if you want to know more about that. She does a good job in explaining the genre and how it evolves. So here are the criteria for the reading challenge. Of course, you don't have to do all of these. It's just a suggestion. I'm going to challenge myself to do all of these. but you can also combine challenges. Okay, so number 1, read a classic Gothic romance novel or short story. So you can do a short story written before 1950. So before these were popular. So you could read Anne Radcliffe, which is what I plan to read because I have had her complete works downloaded on my Kindle for years, and I've never read any of her work, and I feel very ashamed. So I'm going to read some Anne Radcliffe. She was one of the original Gothic writers. Now, I don't know how much romance I'm going to get out of that, but or even horror. I expect something a little more literary, a little more subtle, but that's okay. Or you could read anything, most anything by Daphne du Maurier. If you haven't read Rebecca, I highly recommend that you do read it. It's a great novel, and it's a great movie, Alfred Hitchcock. All right, number 2, read a paperback Gothic romance novel or short story. So this type with the gal running away from the castle. And did you know, and I learned this from Lori Page, that one light always has to be on in the castle or the house? I didn't know that. Now, when I redo my cover for my Gothic romance, I'm going to put a little light on in the house. Maybe that's why I haven't been selling that much. It's possible. Read a newer Gothic romance. That's number 3, year 2000 on up. So you can go on Amazon and search Gothic romance. Just beware, you'll get a lot of stuff that looks like this. Because I just did this search, and I got a lot of stuff that look like this and this. Now, I haven't read these books, but I have a feeling they're not really Gothic, meaning that it's probably just straight up romance, maybe a little suspense. So maybe I'm being too picky. I don't know, read what you like, but try to find something that does have Gothic elements and it's not just, about a fireman or something. Or a guy in a kilt, unless he lives in a castle. So just saying. All right, number 4, read a queer main character, Gothic romance or short story. Well, I have decided, and I've already bought it on Kindle, to read Gaywick by Vincent Verga. This came out in like 1980. Lori does mention it in her video, and I've seen this book around, and I'm just like, I'm going to read it because I can't wait. So if you want to read something with a non-heterosexual main character, go for it. So definitely have fun with number 4 and maybe find something new, because I think there's probably a lot of new stuff. And following the hashtag, I'm going to, throughout the month, find books and post them on Instagram, find stuff that fits these categories. All right, number 5, read a BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, Person of Color, main character, Gothic romance or short story. Okay, this one, something like Mexican Gothic would fit in for this. I read that one. This one, I'm going to read The Hacienda. This I've had on my Kindle for a while, so I'm going to read this. I also found a book with a Black protagonist named The Confessions of Franny Langton. I did not write down the author, but it's on Amazon. I'm going to try to read that one too if I can. And then number 6 is watch a Gothic romance movie. So you could watch something classic like Wuthering Heights, Rebecca, Jane Eyre, Crimson Peak, Bram Stoker's Dracula, I think would definitely fit the bill, even though the romance in the novel is not really there. It's not played up at all because there's really no romance per se between Dracula and Mina, but in the movie, whoo, it's steamy and I love it. And same with Wuthering Heights. Lori Page made the point that if you ever read the book Wuthering Heights, it's not the same as the movie. And the second half of the book is like the children of Heathcliff and Catherine and their kind of romance. It doesn't have the real formula. It's a great book, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't quite have the book, I'm saying, doesn't really quite have the Gothic romance formula, but the movie does. It's very tragic and very wonderful. I love that movie. So that is the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge for the month of February. Again, I have 3 fabulous co-hosts that you'll be hearing from. And it's just really something fun, no pressure, but I think that we have to have a lot of fans out there for Gothic romance. So let's get a little romance in our lives for Valentine's month and have a good time doing it. So before I leave today, I did want to mention that I started watching The Mayfair Witches, the TV show, and I went in with such low expectations, And I am pleasantly surprised at how good it is. Now, it is not as good as the book. They changed some things, like really changed the Michael character where he's not even Michael anymore. So at first I was like, what? But, I accepted it for the show. It is. And so far I'm really getting into it. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so I'm going to keep watching and report back. Let me know if you're also watching it. Okay, so let me know in the comments below if you plan to do the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, and if you have any suggestions for the challenge. I would love to hear your thoughts. All right, so I'm going to go play with this one for a while. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.